Hello everyone and welcome to Ultraman Part 2 Fan Outline. We continue on with the boy following Guruman deep into the cavern. They see into a giant underground city. Guruman explains that they are survivors from numerous calamities that have befell them in the past thousands of years. The boy asks why the world doesn't know about them. It is explained as they arrive into the futuristic tech facilities with lights overhead glowing in the upper caverns of the cave. Guruman continues to tell him that they are a father race to humanity. Here he mentions that his race has the capacity to transform and grow at will. The boy asks if humans can do this too, and he tells him that it is now a dormant gene within, but yes. He is there to train to be like those of now known Ultramen. He tells him at one point maybe he will even lead the Ultramen again, but his days of fighting have become bitter. He is shown to a room where he sees hundreds of others around his age in a barracks-like quarters. He meets several of others, who then inform him that they too are from the surface. Though it is not mentioned directly, it is implied that the Ultramen have lost capacity to reproduce. They can only splice their genes into other life forms to seed planets. The boy is informed that even though they are allies to the surface, that another 2 realms remain deeper in the caverns with different allegiances, and 13 other realms lay empty from civil war, famine, and other dark ones. The next day, the young ones are woken to train while running on a track that hugs the walls of the cavern and overlooking the main parts of the city. The boy sees several kaiju in the vicinity. The boy asks about them and their relation to Godzilla. He hears whispers all around him. The son of Dagon is protector of a kingdom that no longer exists. As the boy continues his training, he is fed a golden fruit. As he bites into it, he begins to hear whispers and is able to whisper to others telepathically. Similar to brain freeze, he winces with a sour flavor as thoughts begin to flood in. We pan back to the surface to the Ultraman X unit on the surface. They are called in to help in training with the apprentices. They argue that they still seek the black armored perpetrator, to no avail. They are instructed to move on to training. Weeks pass and we pan into a dark lair where a dark being is transforming. From a giant monstrous figure into that of a tall man, Jonah Allen steps in. "You have called for me, Elder?" he tells the dark being. The dark being then whispers telepathically to Jonah Allen that his female scientist has been corrupted by his agent, and is hoping to use her monarch access to lure out the Ultraman. Here, Jonah Allen calls the black armored one and tells him to ready for an attack. We pan back to the boy who is now being marked as the lead position of his squad as some time has passed. They begin trials to put him to the test. He is successful in his attempts. He is also pulled away and reports to the main office where Guruman, or Gandor, is waiting for him. He tells him his father would be proud, and that Guruman himself is impressed. He starts to tell him that his father excelled, and that his father's team were the first to pass the test, and that out of hundreds of students, only the good-hearted are chosen to lead. The boy asks what made him stand out, and he tells him saving his mom's life and carrying her out of a ravine is probably the most notable. Most kids would have just gone for help, but not you, he says. You wouldn't leave your mother behind while you still had strength. He asks him why they are training him, what dangers could threaten them with such powerful protectors around. He tells him that time had worn Harmony down, and the connection to their home planet being severed for risk of attracting outer gods. He tells him that his brother corrupted himself and is in stasis with an army of darkspawn near the core of the planet. Should he escape it, it would doom the planet. He puts it into an analogy. Your major countries have nukes pointed at each other in safety to lock each other out of another attack. For the Ultramen, divided, would call upon Cthulhu should they become desperate. Cthulhu would kill them all, but it would drag the other factions down with him. Gandor tells him, "This is why your father called me Guruman. I was full of knowledge." The boy tells him he is honored, to which Gandor snorts and responds, "No need to be honored, I'm only Gandor." The boy tries to correct him that he is king, but Gandor stands and tells the boy to listen. We jump into a flashback of his brother fighting on the surface long ago against Gandor's daughter, the matriarch. Fenrir, he questions the name. No. Yes. We see a giant battle erupt as eventually Fenrir, with the help of newly trained humans, as Ultramen defeat Gandor's daughter. She was tainted by a Dark One, whom she bore a son. Even though Gandor banished her, the family was torn with this dark union. She married the great dark god that remained on Earth, Nyarlathotep, a remaining spawn of the Dark Old Ones from long ago. This battle wiped much of the technology off the surface as many went underground. The war spanned the world as the Fourth Realm was sealed, with the only entrance being guarded by Manda, Gandor's somewhat son, an eternal slumbering guardian. Kronos and many of the other kaijus defended Fenrir, but they too were split in unrest amongst themselves. Eventually the fighting died down and the elder race stepped down to allow humans to grow. The boy asked what happened to Fenrir. We pan to the ceiling of the fourth realm, with Gandor seeking to fight Fenrir, Manda sealing the way with only a final glimpse of each other. Gandor's wife left to seek Elysium with several others, never to be heard from again. The elder race that remained attempted to assimilate to humans' rule, but those that didn't went to the underground cities. Here the flashback ends. He tells them that the fruit he has been eating was grown originally from his home planet of Elysium, where his older brother rules. This is followed by Gandor telling him that tomorrow he will start expansion training. The boy begins his rest and seeks his mother's attention. He begins to hear her thoughts as he focuses to tell her everything he has been through. The barracks calls lights out as the boy silently tears, hearing his mom's voice again. She tells him that they are trying new medicine that seems to be helping with walking, but not yet talking. She also tells him that his dad spoke to her also, similar to how he does. She wanted to let him know that his father knew he was going to lead a life that made him confident of a better future. The training continues as the trainees perfect their size increases. We pan to the main gates into the open realms. Turrets are armed as they detect movement. Smaller kaiju begin to attack as long-range weapons were fired at the gate. The training halts as they hear explosions in the distance. An alarm activates. The trainees look at each other and are told to head back to their barracks. Though back at the barracks, the boy begins to hear whispers of worry and of another attack from one of the other realms. The boy suits up and others follow in his stead as he leads them to assist the elder Ultraman. On the surface, we follow the Ultraman Team X to a lair where they suspect to find the Dark Armored Warrior. It ends up being a trap as they fight their way back to extraction. They find the tracks of the Darkspawn, potential powerful being. Until they find a man in ancient robes, he tells them they have a choice, to follow and be trapped, or to escape to fight another day. They resist and attempt to bring the man in, but he begins to transform as he hits them away. In their calm from their command operations, they hear that the being they encountered is a Dark Servant. As the Surface Ultraman team is beaten back, the Dark Other reveals itself to be Nyarlathotep. Their fight ensues as we pan back to under the earth. The kids hear the combat ahead of them at the main gate. They figure about 2 layers of security secures the passageway beyond. They see several response forces make their way to the gate as they reinforce defensive positions and ready a relief force. One of the girls in the trainee force opens up her telepathic vision as they try to get a sense of what is happening. She sees a dark armored warrior leading dark forces. Another trainee whispers to the group that he overheard their defenses claiming it's one of the other nations inside the inner earth. The boy leading them asks the girl to describe the dark warrior as he begins to realize it's the warrior that killed his father. Though that also means there is another way into the inner earth. The attack continues as little progress is made to overcome the defenses. The Dark Armored Man retreats their forces, and the trainees begin to uncover that it's made to look like another inner faction is declaring war. The group of trainees see a gap in the defenses and make it through to chase after the retreating Dark Force. They are spotted and reported to Gandor. Gandor leads a small force to retrieve the trainees. As the young ones catch up, they start to eliminate the men following the Dark Armored One. They are very human, and they uncover that it is mercenaries from many nations of Earth. The Dark Armored One begins to fight the boy, and the boy catches the Dark Armored One off guard, but is soon pushed back. With the help of the trainees, they defeat the Dark One's forces. But the Dark Armored One manages to injure several of their numbers. It's here Nyarlathotep appears. The Surface Ultramen Team X are held as captives to have the recruits surrender. The Darkspawn appears as the trainees continue to fight, as the captive Ultramen tell them to fight all the way back. The trainees seem to gain no ground against numerous appearing Darkspawn. The Dark Armored Man singles out the leading trainee to finish him off like his father. The young man is able to gather his strength and increase in size. He grabs the armored Dark One and smashes him on the ground and flings him away. Nyarlathotep then moves to fight the young Ultraman. The fight is very quick and the boy is pushed down. Though as the fighting seems to turn grim, Gandor and his elite team arrive. Gandor faces off with Nyarlathotep. They shepherd the Dark Ones towards the inner sanctums of the inner earth, trapping them from exiting to the surface. Here more Ultramen arrive to reinforce them, and the Dark Ones retreat, and a giant roar is heard and rumbling. The whole cavern begins to shake and the Dark Ones are sealed in. Gandor recognizes the roar as Ghidorah. He wonders what else is going on the surface. He places the young boy in charge of the defense with his trainee squad, and would finish their training once Ghidorah is taken care of. They have much to prepare for, as the kaiju in the area are going berserk. The Ultramen move to calm them down, and a few groups of kaiju fight back. Another low rumbling is heard. The training whisper, wondering what the new rumbling is, and Gandor tells them that it is an older one that lives deeper in the earth, an ancient one. By the time they manage to regain order from the rebelling kaiju, they sent for word on the surface, to which it is reported that Ghidorah was killed by Godzilla. To which Gandor replies, he finally did it. Other factions arrive to report that kaiju have been waking and are being shepherded to sleep. They reward the trainees on their graduation day as the boy is crowned the lead Ultraman for the new team to protect the surface. The team is rewarded for uncovering the plot to frame another Ultraman nation and discovering a Dark God still on Earth. Here they move to prepare Project Ultraman X and begin their first test on surface kaiju. We cut out as the new Ultraman X team moved in to get started. This is where we end Ultraman and prepare the next in the series, Gamera. We end with Gamera being mentioned to have been awoken by Ghidorah's call, and that he is the guardian at the core of the Earth. We see the Dark Armored One buried in the rubble start to move out of the debris. We then see the new Ultraman captain return to his mother, as she then begins to slowly speak as the young man embraces his mother and heals her. He whispers, "I'm going to save you now." His mother responded, "That was your father's last whispers." Some quick author's notes. I wanted this time to start including some kaiju from the original Toho, kind of like Bagan or some of the others in the outro, setting them up for future Monsterverse movies. Also bringing back some of the major monsters from the Ultraman series itself, now renamed Ultraman in this series. Did you like the direction this took? This ended up being longer than I originally intended, but still is able to fit into lore with H.P. Lovecraft and the Monsterverse all in there, with minimal loopholes as possible. What parts did you like, and was there anything you would change, anything that you really liked? Well, let me know in the comments. This is Mike G signing out, and we'll see you in Gamera.